I sat down with a woman named Sandy. She told me how the scammer added her as a friend on Facebook and then proceeded to exploit her for tens of thousands of dollars. Sandy wants to share her story with you to warn others what to look out for.
He was so smooth.
The man who added Sandy on Facebook claimed to be a U.S. doctor working in Afghanistan for the United Nations.
And I said, why would a doctor be interested in me? And he's like, well, why not?
His charismatic charm reeled Sandy in. So once he started asking for money, she agreed.
It was almost like I was, I'll say, in a trance.
His first ruse was that he needed her money to help him get a box filled with $4.2 million.
And he's like, babe, please, go to the bank, go to anybody. Anybody will lend you money. We need this amount of money. We need this amount of money. Oh, come on, honey, I really love you. This is going to get me to you.
So she got him the money, about $30,000 through Bitcoin. But the scammer didn't stop there. He started asking for gift cards, and Sandy ended up buying more than $17,000 worth.
I would go get the gift card, scratch it off, take a picture, and I would send it to him.
She started getting suspicious when the guy kept asking for more money, more money, more money. That's one of the biggest red flags Colorado Springs police say people should look out for.
Be very suspicious when someone starts asking you for money.
Sergeant Joe Mattiato supervises the department's financial crimes unit. He says scams like this are very hard to investigate.
It's frustrating because, unfortunately, I have to tell a lot of people, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do.
Sandy filed a report with CSPD, but says she knows she probably won't get her money back. She hopes by sharing this story, other people will be more careful.
People need to understand this is real. This is real. I have lost $97,000. My total life, 401k, savings account, everything. It's real.
If you are scammed out of money, don't be ashamed. Scammers are calculated and know exactly what to say to get you to do what they want. Make sure to file a police report. You can also reach out to the AARP Fraud Watch Network, and we have all of that information over on our website, kktv.com. Jenna Middaugh, 11 Call for Action. Seniors who live at Taylor Apartments in central Colorado Springs tell me the complex has been 55 plus since it was built in 1964. Well, this year it was sold, and the new owners opened up the apartment complex to people of all ages and raised the rent for some seniors who have been living there for years.
I've been at this apartment complex 11 years.
And those have been some of the best years of Calvin Newton's life.
I have the most beautiful view of Pikes Peak every morning, and I would stay here forever. I figured I'd be here forever.
But then
it was just completely changed, no warning.
New owners came in with new rules, including this 22-page lease.
When that lease came out and the notice came out of the rent being raised, there were people who were living here already for a couple of decades. They panicked out. It was traumatic for them.
Jim Anderson says his rent went from $600 a month to $850. Others were asked to pay nearly $1,000. But some seniors say they can't afford that on their fixed income, so for now, they aren't paying that new amount.
I'm fighting this.
Some people who live here, though, can't do that. Diana Forrest tells me she qualifies for Section 8 housing. That means she gets money from the government to help cover part of her rent.
Section 8 won't approve the hike in the rent amount, so I can't live here.
She's already planning to move out by the end of January, but hasn't found a new place to live yet.
I bought a car that I can camp in.
That's a reality many seniors are facing: homelessness.
It's more difficult for them to absorb these kinds of doubling, in some cases tripling of their rent when they've been on one price for so long.
Derek Wilson works at Silver Key, an organization that supports senior citizens. That group stepped up and helped pay rent and moving costs for some of the seniors who live at Taylor Apartments. But he says this help is just a Band-Aid, and the community needs a long-term solution: more affordable housing.
There is just not enough.
Right now, there's approximately 21 low-income senior-only housing complexes in El Paso County, but the wait lists?
3 to 5 years long.
That's according to Melissa Martz, who works at the Pikes Peak Area Agency on Aging. She says this year alone, 2 other senior-only complexes converted to allow renters of all ages. That's in addition to what's happening at Taylor Apartments.
I do think that complexes are going to continue to flip as they realize they can charge a higher rent for a different group of people that they're renting to.
You can't stop private enterprise. You can't stop people from buying a building or from an owner to sell. But we hope that people can be very careful and humane about how they treat the tenants that are really struggling right now.
Colorado Springs City Council President Richard Skorman has been working with the people who live at Taylor Apartments. He helped pull together funding to create a position at Silver Key to support impacted seniors. His goal is for the city to be better prepared if this were to happen again, but he's also hoping to prevent companies from flipping senior-only housing, or at least give the tenants more time to figure out their next steps.
I've tasked the city attorneys to really start to look at that.
For now, the seniors who live at Taylor Apartments feel somewhat protected because of state and federal moratoriums on eviction. But the federal one is set to expire at the end of the year unless the government extends it.
I don't know where we go from here.
I did reach out to the new owners of Taylor Apartments. They wouldn't talk to me on camera, but said they understand the tenants' concerns and are doing what they can to work with them. If you end up in a situation like this, or your parents do, you can call Silver Key. That information is on our website, and I will continue to check in with Council President Richard Skorman to see if any permanent solution can be reached to help seniors in our community. Jenna Middaugh, KKTV 11 Call for Action. Silver Key tells me it's had 7 catalytic converters stolen from its trucks and shuttles within the span of just 3 months. The converters control emissions, and the crooks are after the metal inside.
So we've had a rash of burglaries.
Last October, Silver Key says thieves stole 5 catalytic converters from shuttles.
It's incredibly frustrating.
This January, 2 more were taken. And when the buses go out of service,
It's around 20 to 30 rides a day that we're not able to do for folks that are needing to get to things like dialysis, other essential medical appointments, the grocery store.
the repairs are costly too, roughly $1,000 per converter. And with 7 now stolen, that's $7,000.
Those would pay for literally dozens upon dozens of meals for seniors, for example. It would pay for dozens of rides. It would allow for more seniors to be able to get the behavioral health care services that they need, time spent with a counselor.
And it's not always a quick fix. Silver Key says it can take days to get the buses back on the road.
The crime continues, so there's a shortage of parts.
Right now, I have 3 trucks waiting, back orders.
Jeff Goodwin owns Bud's Muffler in Colorado Springs. He says thieves are going after the metal inside the converters.
There's a value in scrap of the larger ones that I guess it's worth taking the risk.
His shop has worked on all 7 of Silver Key's vehicles, and those aren't the only ones.
I bet we've seen probably 20 since the first of the year.
That raised a red flag for Goodwin.
We started asking our customers to report it.
We get these reports every year, but we also know a lot of these reports also go unreported. So we really want to encourage people who have been a victim of any crime to please contact us.
Colorado Springs police tell me they can have officers patrol areas where they're seeing crime patterns and share that information with other agencies like Denver PD, which has seen catalytic converter thefts skyrocket. As for Silver Key,
Law enforcement so far has not been able to find the perpetrators. We just hope that, again, people's conscience will speak to them a little bit. This is not a victimless crime. There are people that lives are affected and impacted greatly by them not being able to get their ride that they need.
Denver police say 108 catalytic converters were stolen just in January of this year. Compare that to a total of 15 reported stolen in all of 2019. If you're a victim of a crime like this, or you know anything about who's behind these thefts, call police right away. Jenna Middaugh, 11 Call for Action. Like many of us during the pandemic, Dana Kennedy has been working from home.
When I'm in my working hours, I have to answer the phone.
Recently, she started getting some odd phone calls.
We started getting calls where they were leaving threatening messages and saying they were going to hunt us down if we didn't stop calling them.
But the thing is, Kennedy wasn't calling them.
So then we knew there was something going on.
She believes her phone number was being spoofed by scammers, meaning the caller ID shows up as her number, even though she's not making the call.
We just went ahead and changed our phone message now so that it says we believe our number's being spoofed if you are getting lots of calls from this number.
What's so painful about this system is all of us are vulnerable. Anyone with this technology, which is easy to get, can basically pretend to be you.
Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser says it's not easy to trace this technology, but his office is working on it.
This is part of the scary world we're living in. I wish I could tell people there's an easy way to protect yourself, but there's not.
One thing he says you can do is change your voicemail like Kennedy did. And if you're on the receiving end of the spam calls, don't answer numbers you don't know.
Let it go right to voicemail. If it's a call for you that's legitimate, they're going to generally leave a message. Scammers or other unwanted callers, they often won't.
If you're considering calling the number back to harass them, just remember, it might be someone like Kennedy on the other line.
It was upsetting to receive the calls from people thinking that it was us doing it to them.
Jenna Middaugh, 11 Call for Action.